Good morning, good evening, good day, and welcome to Drama Buds. I'm Francine. I really love K-dramas, and I'm going to spend as much time as I want talking about them. Welcome to my podcast. So, hello everyone. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about Mr. Sunshine. And if you've watched this show, I am very sorry that you have to relive the pain. I am so sorry that I am bringing back, the emotional devastation that I'm sure that show made us all feel. So, Mr. Sunshine is probably the best historical K drama I've ever watched. And it's not necessarily like a saguk show, the intricate costumes and the setting in the palace and all that. Like, it's set in this weird point in Korean history that isn't often um discussed or portrayed in K dramas, which just makes it even more, mind blowingly unique. And this show has the saddest ending I've ever experienced, forced myself to witness. I mean, I I tried to compare it to Scarlet Heart, like, who has the sadder ending? But I decided not to do that because they're both tragic. Why can't tragic endings just live peacefully in sadness alongside each other? Must they be compared? They all caused us pain. They both caused us pain. Let's leave it at that. So why did I end up watching this show? Little background on me. When I was a fledgling K-drama stan, um, one of the first K-dramas I watched was Goblin. And oh my goodness, I'm gonna get stoned for saying this. Wait, I actually mentioned this in like my 2020 year-end recap and awards. Um, it's like one of the most overrated shows for me. Oops. Yeah. I just didn't feel it. Like, I know it's beautiful. Objectively, it is. But I personally didn't feel anything for it. And I was bored. And I was not, like, super invested in the second lead couple, like most people were for some reason. I just, uh, but I mean, it's beautiful objectively. That's really all I can say about it. So, so Mr. Sunshine. So, yes, I've I didn't like Goblin. Of course, I know about Descendants of the Sun, of course. Um but I don't want to watch that. One, because Song Song will make me sad, and two, because like it seems like a very, run of the mill romance K-drama, like I don't know. Oh, sorry if I forgot to provide the context of why I'm bringing these shows up. Goblin, Descendants of the Sun, The King Eternal Monarch, and Mr. Sunshine have the same writer. And like Goblin, Dots, and Mr. Sunshine have the same director. Tekem has a different director. Okay, why did I bring these shows up? Given the track record of this writer, like, I didn't have any expectations because I didn't end up liking any of them, or I don't feel like I'll end up liking any of them. But this one, I've heard so many good things. Like, everyone just raves about this show. And everyone says it's sad. It's good, but it's sad. And so, like, when we finally decided to watch this show, me and my sister, like, we knew there was going to be a tragic ending, but we don't know. We didn't know who it was gonna be about. So it's just okay. But yeah, like, given the track record of this writer, weren't super optimistic. But good God, when we watched this show, it was. I genuinely, firmly believe that Kim Un-suk did not write this show. It's a common theory. A lot of people are saying like she had a ghostwriter for this, or like one of the assistant writers was really heading the project. So I'll talk about that later. My conspiracy theory regarding Kim Un-suk and Mr. Sunshine. But okay, anyway, yeah. Just after, we ran out of good shows to watch and thought, maybe it's time to watch Mr. Sunshine. And it just blew everything out of the water. I mean, all the other shows I mentioned before exceeded leaps and bounds another league. They're not even in the same playing field, probably because they're not written by the same person. Ahem. So Mr. Sunshine is a historical K-drama set towards the end of the Joseon era, as Japan is about to invade the country. And themes revolve around like the struggles of independence, determining nationality and belonging in a country, patriotism, societal bounds and burdens, and love. All kinds of it, familial, romantic, love for the nation, love for your people, all kinds of love. And a little bit of a disclaimer. I will not be able to do this show justice. Like, as I was writing my outline for this, I realized this seems very simple compared to all the theories and the realizations and reflections I came up with while watching the show. And yeah, I'm not going to do this show justice. So if you haven't watched it, they're not this simple. I swear they're a lot more complex than this, but I tried my best to make you feel, to make you realize that this show is amazing and you must watch it if you haven't. And if you have, once again, I am sorry. I feel your pain. Okay. So let's discuss the characters and the plot. So this show has 5 main leads. I mean, of course, there's two main leads, but the 5 of them in general are pretty prominent in the story and are, well, pretty fleshed out. So I think they're all 5 main leads. Okay, and like they all have intertwined stories and backstories. So super whatever, I'll discuss that later. Okay, our first character is Eugene Choi, played by Lee Byung-hun. So he was born as Choi Eugene, a slave of a noble family. And at the age of 9, his mother helped him escape from the family that owned them, and he ran away. And he ran from slave hunters that were chasing him until he found his way to Potter Huang. Okay, I will mention a lot of names, by the way, but I don't really feel like discussing all the side characters because this cast is huge, okay? And we're gonna take forever. So he found his way to Potter Huang. And there, Potter Huang kind of housed him for a bit and fed him and stuff. But this is where he met Joseph, an American missionary who helped him get on a boat to America and start his new life there. And 30 years later, he's now a captain in the U.S. Marine Corps who was deployed to the American legation in Joseon. And like Eugene's big, thing, his issue is that he's never really belonged anywhere. Like in Joseon, when he was a child, he was a slave. He wasn't even seen as a person. And then, in America, even if he grew up there, even if he started from the bottom and made his way to start his own life and be his own person there, he's seen as a foreigner. Of course, he looks different. That's it. And back in Joseon, when he came back, he was still considered as a foreigner. Just a foreigner that looked like them for some reason. Like, he nowhere, in no place, no country, he belonged nowhere. And because of, that kind of hostility and just, the negative feelings towards Joseon and all that, he decided that all of his actions will be for the fall of Joseon. Like, not actively. Like, he won't go out and, like, shoot the king or something. But, but like, just his decisions, like, as someone sent to the American legation, like, he has some influence in the country and in what happens to the country. And so he kind of decided that anything he would have to do or would choose to do would be for the fall of Joseon. Because yeah, this is not his homeland. I mean, America is his homeland, even if people treat him differently because they're racist and all that. But like he has no positive feelings towards Joseon. He has no reason to protect the country and all that. But of course, that's when he meets Go Aishin. And I can't fully describe like what shifts in him or in their relationship, like why he suddenly transformed like this. But for once he really felt seen and understood and accepted. And now his actions can't be entirely for the doom of Joseon, because her goal is to protect her nation, and his goal is now to protect her. Oh, oh my gosh. Okay, Eugene Choi. All right. Okay. So I mentioned Go Aishin. Go Aishin played by Kim Tae-ri. Okay, so Aishin is the granddaughter of a powerful nobleman who is close to the king. I think he was the teacher of the king. And, Aishin's parents were freedom fighters, righteous army who died in Japan when she was a baby. Fighting for the country, fighting against Japan, probably. And so, yeah, she safely made her way back to Joseon as a baby and like grew up in her grandfather's care. And, it must run in the blood because one day she expressed her desire to become a rebel to her grandfather. And like her grandfather just like, he let his kids become rebels. He can't stop her if that's what she wants. But he did send her to Gunnerjang to learn how to shoot to protect herself. So if you want to fight for your nation, go fight for your nation, but you have to learn how to protect yourself first. And so because of that, she secretly becomes a member of the Righteous Army, which the local group of like freedom fighters at that time. And on one of her missions, she meets Eugene Choi. And like they met like in the dark of the night, covered in masks, pointing guns at each other. And at first when they do confirm each other's identities, like as Go Aishin and as Eugene Choi, she doesn't know whether to consider him a comrade or an enemy, a foreigner. But one way or another, she eventually recognizes his efforts to protect her in his own way. And they fall in love. And they fall in love. However, her love for her country is still stronger, still deeper than that, And she will always choose Joseon over him. But they try to find compromises for that. Like they try to find a way to make their goals align so that they can remain together. But like, this is like the most ridiculous on and off relationship. No, really, they do have an on and off relationship. Like, it's not even fully on sometimes. They just like acknowledge slightly that they have feelings, and that's on. That's enough of an on. And then they say, no, we can't do this. I must protect my country. I must remain with the military. I must do this and that, and we cannot be together. And then they're just like, feelings though. And then they break up again. It's just crazy ride. So there, Eugene and Aishin, like, it's the main love line. Okay, you gotta buy it. And I'll discuss the love line in depth later. Okay, our next main character is Gu Dong-mei, played by Yoo Yun-sok. So, Gu Dong-mei is a former butcher, which is like the lowest class of slaves, I think. I look, I really googled it. Like, what's wrong with butchers? Why are butchers seen as bad in Korea? I don't know, but like, yeah, apparently they're like one of the lowest class of slaves back before slavery was abolished. And like, when his family was being hunted or killed already, he found his way to Japan essentially and joined the Yakuza, so the Japanese mafia there, and was sent back to Joseon to be like the local leader in Hansong. which was modern day Seoul, I think. And like he's just seen as like a cruel, violent person, feared by the locals who were in his territory. But Kudongmei has been interested in Asian since they were young. How were they connected, you may ask? Um Basically she saved him from being found by slave hunters or just whoever was out to kill him. And like despite her kindness, he called out how she was just a clueless noble who didn't understand how cruel the world was. And I think like now that I'm thinking about it, that might have been the reason why like Asian, tried to learn more about the world and eventually realized that she wanted to be a freedom fighter. I mean, or part of the righteous army. So yeah, and then he was just fixated on her. I don't know if it's because of like the kindness that she showed him. I think it's because she was the first person who was ever kind to him. And he responded, with anger. Because he's just always angry at the world. And like I think rightfully so. I think he's been through a lot that he's allowed to be angry at the world. I mean, to be a vicious like sword slasher or something. I mean, yeah, not violence, I guess, not so justified. But to be angry at the world, it's okay. It's okay to be mad. But he is loyal to a few people, a few things. Like he's loyal to his men, to the people that he leads, and to Asian. Somehow, he is somehow loyal to her. I cannot fully grasp like his feelings for her, honestly, but yes. And like his journey is about like, you know, channeling his anger and his passion to his loyalties. That's a very bad description because honestly I don't fully get his character. I don't fully get him, but I do love him, so yes. Okay, next character is Hina Kudo, played by Kim Min Jong. She is the owner of Glory Hotel, and it's like the hotel where Eugene Choi, Kim Hee Song, another main character, and many like foreign officials and people just staying at the during the duration of the story. Hina was married off to a Japanese man and changed her name to a Japanese name to be seen as one of them. So she's actually really Korean. Okay. And she has a pretty hostile relationship with her father who sold her off. And her mother has been missing since she was a child. She's been looking for her ever since. And the thing with Hina is that she has very ambiguous intentions. Because, okay, first of all, her father is Lee Wan-ik, who is like, the dog of Japan, he's a politician or government official in Korea. But he's very, like, he wants to sell Korea or Joseon off to Japan. So, like, even if they have a hostile relationship, he still has influence over her. And, like, she is seen, like, following his, what do you call that? Directions. Yeah. So like, so is she on the side of Japan? But then sometimes she seems to be helping Eugene, an Asian get away with certain things or be able to meet or anything like that. So it's like, is she on the side of Korea or America or Japan or who is she really siding with? Like, she keeps people's secrets and helps them. Like, she helps everyone and also no one in particular. Like, I think what her journey was just discovering what she truly stands for instead of playing all sides to secure her safety. I do really like enjoy seeing that aspect of her. And our last main character is Kim Hee-sung, played by Byun Yo-han. Hee-sung is the grandson of the noble that once owned Eugene Choi as a slave, but he doesn't know about that history. He was sent to study in Japan, and he didn't go back to Korea or Joseon for like 10 years, I think. And all that time, he was engaged to Go Shin. Yes, though they haven't met. And when he first saw her, he fell in love. Like the thing with Song is that he's just aimless in life. You know, he drinks, he gambles, he doesn't want to use his knowledge or his skills for anything, really. And like I think his journey is about like finding some sort of purpose for himself outside of the cushy, comfortable life that has been promised to him. You know, given that like Asian's not going to fall for him, that's not going to happen, is it? And like he is a pretty but useless thing. That will be brought up in the show. You should watch out for that. So there. Those are the five main characters. Like somehow they are all slightly connected, right? It's super intricate. I'm just amazed. And okay, really like what I can say about this show is that it's just beautiful in all aspects. Like the writing, directing, cinematography, the music, the acting, everything. All aspects of it. Beautiful, well made, perfect. Almost perfect, I guess. Nothing's perfect. Okay, first, I have to talk about the writing. Okay, here's the theory, okay? Kim Un-suk did not write this. So you're telling me the same person who wrote Descendants of the Sun, Goblin, The King Eternal Monarch, The Heirs. You're telling me that's the person who wrote Mr. Sunshine. I refuse to believe that, okay? Like, yeah, compared to her previous works, Dots, Goblin, The Heirs, and then her future work, Tikem. Like, this is on a whole other level, okay? It's not even... everything just pales in comparison. It's like a whole other world, and they're all just, like, in the kiddie pool and all that. Like, I guess, in terms of similarities, like, Tikem, the King Eternal Monarch, I tried to have this, like, expansive world-building aspect of Mr. Sunshine. It's weird to call Mr. Sunshine world building because it is historical, but you get my point. Like, just, you know, the expansive feeling of it all. But it fell flat, according to many people. I have not watched the show, but, you know, many people have said, like, it was too ambitious. It just tried to go too big and it couldn't handle its own concept. So there. And I guess, I mean, Goblin is the closest it came to this level. But the thing is, like, the present timeline aspect of it, like, not the history of the Goblin, okay? Like, you know, the relationship between Goblin and, what's her name? Ji Untak? Oh my god, am I talking about the right show? Even Kim Go-eun's character. Like, it's too simple. It's too simply written. Like, it has good moments. It has, like, really, you know, sad moments and all that. But for me, it only got good when the Goblin died. Hoo-hoo! Spoiler! It only got good when the Goblin died. And, like, Kim Go-eun's character, it's a teenage child, right? I mean, like, that's why the writing didn't seem so complex, because, like, the main character itself is a child. Like, there was no maturity to her. So, yeah. It just is... This is not Kim Un-suk's work. Okay? Don't even try to convince me otherwise. Okay. In terms of Mr. Sunshine, talking about the real show we're supposed to discuss today, I heard it was criticized a lot for being not historically accurate. And yeah, I get that. I mean, I cannot say anything about how things should be historically accurate because, like, I don't know about their history. I don't know how differently it portrayed things. But, like, for me, on a storytelling perspective, it told a lot of, like, well-made, well-written stories that are deeply intertwined. So I think on that aspect, like, the writing is just top-notch. And, like, the characters are all connected to one another. Like, you have to keep track of things. Keep track of people that they mention and all. Because, like, just because someone is discussed or mentioned does not mean you will see them immediately and know exactly who they're talking about. Like, I can't give an example. I am thinking of one, but I don't want to give it. So, yeah, like, it's very, it's like Arthur Chronicles. where you just have to keep up. Yes, just have to try your best to keep up because it's not like a lot is going on, but a lot is kind of going on at the time. And another thing about the writing that I love just so much is the dialogue. It's very Sagok show type. When they can't talk normally, like they can't just say what they're they can't just say what they're really thinking or feeling, because like at that time there were a lot of societal norms that kept people from expressing themselves. And so the dialogue in this show is very indirect and implicit. Like, you have to think about what they're saying for you to understand like what they're trying to convey. Like, oh, and there's just so much symbolism in the words themselves, in the dialogue itself. Like, aside from the visual storytelling, okay, I'll talk about the directing and cinematography now. Like the thing is with the symbolism, it's not just the dialogue, it's also the visual storytelling, the visual symbolism. That's why I think it's like a perfect combination of the two. Um, okay, I'll give an example. Like, I'm so proud that I figured this out while we were watching. Okay, that's why I remember this vividly. So, like, okay, I'll spoil something, okay? Just so you know. So, like, imagine Eugene Choi and Aishin sitting across each other in a table, like, covered in flour because they're in a bakery. And, like, Eugene writes LVE, facing Aishin so that she's reading it. And then he puts a ring between L and V, so it's love, right? That's what he's offering to her. He's offering his love to her. And then he pulls the ring back. I mean, they're talking, by the way. They're saying a lot of things at this time, but that's what you're seeing. And then he pulls the ring back. He drags it back. And as he drags it back, it forms an I, or like a straight line. So it now becomes live. So what he can offer her is his love. And what he just wants in return, the ring moving towards him, is for her to live. And that's something that you visually saw. And that's also something that they were discussing. Not directly, I think. I can't remember the lines because like I was just amazed at like the fact that they made that symbolism happen in the show. And yeah, like there are a lot of those moments, so many of those moments that I really couldn't keep track because I'm a little slow, as we all know. But yes, I think in terms of like the cinematography, you can definitely see the similarities between Mr. Sunshine and Goblin. Except, except Goblin is set in the modern era most of the time. So it doesn't feel as special as like, the intricate sets and costumes of Mr. Sunshine. Because like, a lot of K-dramas are set in the modern era. So just, there are a lot of pretty shots and all that. But it's not that special. But the thing with Mr. Sunshine is that a lot of it's just CGI. And the CGI is pretty well made most of the time. Except there were really some scenes that like, I felt like, did they just, write this out of nowhere and say, oh no, we should, let's just cram this scene, just stick him on a green screen and let the lighting do its work. Except the lighting did not do its work and the CGI team also did not do their work. So it just looks like a very obviously CGI'd, shot. It's really terrible. It looks like they're in a photo studio where, you get your family pictures taken. Yeah. Just a few moments where it was really bad, but most of the time the CGI was just great. Just top notch. Another great technical aspect, the music. Yeah. I mean, I don't have a lot to say about it. It's very beautiful. Like, it doesn't have a lot of iconic songs like Goblin. Of course, Goblin has so many iconic songs. Descendants of the Sun, iconic songs. But even if Mr. Sunshine doesn't have that, like, just the songs themselves are beautiful. And they're used so well in the show. So, yeah. And now, okay, I want to talk about the acting. Because, like, among all the great great aspects of this show. I think the acting is really what elevated the show above the rest of the other shows I compared it to. I'm not knocking on the acting skills of the other people there, but I'm just saying like this was just top, top, top notch. Okay, first of all, like the fact that Kim Tae-ri and Lee Byung-hun, were casted for the show and they, accepted it. Like the team had the budget to cast these two people in a drama together that's 24 episodes long with like all these intricate sets and costume and like, a lot of CGI and a lot of characters, and just the fact that they had the budget is amazing in itself. I mean, okay, just a little context. Kim Tae-ri, she was new at this time. Like she only started her acting career really in like 2016, but her first role was a movie role in The Handmaiden, which was I haven't watched it, but just what I know of it's at thousands audition, but she was the one who made it. And it's by like a famous writer director, I'm not sure. But yeah, like she's a big deal, okay? For someone so young and someone with no track record essentially, she's huge. And Lee Byung-hun is like a movie star. I mean, really, he's the top of the top. Yeah, he really is, and just the best of the best. The fact that they were able to to have this project together is just amazing. Anyway, going to talk about Kim Tae-ri. Kim Tae-ri as Asian was so nuanced, I guess. And like that's a difficult word to use for me because I don't know how to express like what is nuance, you may ask. Well, okay. The thing with like historical shows, sagok shows, most actors like struggle to seem like real people when taking historical roles because like the way they talk back then seems very unnatural compared to how people talk now. Okay, so like, it sounds very stilted, like overly formal, and people just struggle with like getting the tone right that they end up not portraying, the emotions behind the words. Or like, but if you focus too much on just like the emotions, then people will say you're not portraying how they spoke back then correctly. So it's just a delicate balance that a lot of people just tend to focus on getting the tone and the speaking manner right, but not, the the acting right. But Kim Tae-ri managed to make Asian feel like a person, and like, what I love about her the most is that she knows how to use her face completely, like eyes and like the micro expressions. Like she knows exactly what she's trying to portray or convey with her face. Like the voice, she can't do much about that. Like she does have to speak in that stilted way, but just doing little expressions, making little expressions just makes such a difference in how a character is portrayed. Because she seems like a person. Asian is a person and not just, a caricature of a noble woman with a tough side, Like she's not a stereotypical strong female character and all that. So yes, I love, love, love Kim Tae-ri. Lee Byung-hun as Eugene Choi, perfect, just perfect. Got nothing to say about his portrayal. It's just perfect, okay? Because he's the best, like stoic type of character I've ever watched. I mean, I hate stoic characters. It's just like I've seen so many stoic characters that it's just exhausting at this point. Like, are we tired? Aren't we tired of writing characters that don't know how to express themselves? But with him, I get it. You've been through a lot. You're also in the military. So I kind of understand why you have this like tough, viewpoint on the world and all that. But Lee Byung-hun delivered like the stoic aspect of his character plus like his light-hearted, gentle moments. Because like, Eugene Choi doesn't belong anywhere. Anywhere. Yeah. But sometimes, like, there are few people in his life who he feels close to, who he feels understood by. not just Asian, just other people that he works with, other people that he's around, and like when he's close to someone, he is able to let his guard down a bit. And, he actually has a sense of humor. He can be witty, he can be funny, he can be sarcastic. Like he just doesn't open up. But when he does, like he's a very like a charming character, really. Um yeah, it's hard to make a stoic character likable for me personally, but I love him because Lee Byung-hun delivered every aspect of his character so, 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 so well. And like putting them together, the love line between the two, for me, was convincing. Like, despite the 20-year age gap between the actors, which they reduced to 10 years for the characters, like, I believed that they loved each other, that these two characters loved each other, even without, like, a kiss scene, Like, yeah, the most they got was, like, a hug, and, like, they got some I love yous, I think. I really have to praise the writer for that one. I have to praise the writer, for the moments, and I have to praise the actors for delivering those moments perfectly. Because, like, what you feel with these characters is that they have so much that they want to say. Like, they they just can't. Okay? Like, they can't, so they show it instead. And, like, they're both great at micro expressions. They're both so, so, so good at acting that they are really able to convey the message, the love, the emotion without saying a word, or, despite how, like, stilted their speech has to be. I mean, guys, you might say great writing can, do everything. Like, that's all that matters. Guys, no, it's the actors. They are the they give us the show. They are what we see. So they have to be really good to convince people. And with, with the little that they can say at a time period like this, like, it's really the face. The face has to do the work. The expressions have to do the work. Okay. Moving on. Oh, the other three main actors, I have to give them credit too. They were also great. I think it felt like everyone was really committed to the role. And I wouldn't get rid of anyone or recast any of the actors. Like, no, everyone did really, really well in their own roles. So I am perfectly fine as it is. Like, first for Yoo Yeon-seok, Go Dong-mei. This is the best Yoo Yeon-seok role I've ever seen him in. Like, one, I hate it. Oh, we all know how much I hated Kang Dong-ju from Dr. Romantic. And, okay, for An Jong-won, his character in Hospital Playlist, I just have no particular feelings towards him. Like, he is my least favorite of the lacking five. I'm sorry. But yeah, this is definitely his best role. And this is his most, like, violent role. Like, he's not a good boy here or, whatever. I hate Kang Dong-ju. I just personally hate him, okay? But yeah, this is best Yoo Yeon-seok role. For Byun Yo-han, it's perfect fit for him. I mean, it's similar to his role as Han Sok-yul in Missing. So, hey, I managed to mention Missing in this podcast. Hey, I found a way. But yeah. Just perfect fit. He can be charming, he can be funny, he can be his usual self. He's kind of a comedic character and a comedic person, probably. So, yeah, perfect fit. And for Kim Min-jung, it's my first time seeing her, actually. I've never seen her in any other role. And I can't compare her acting to any of her previous or other roles and stuff. But yeah, she did pretty well. Her role is similar to Tae-alha from Art Doll Chronicles. Like, the smart, scheming type who's, well, at least with Tae-alha, we knew her intentions. But with Hina, it's a little more ambiguous. But hey, she delivered that pretty well, that you really, really couldn't tell what she was thinking or what she was planning. Okay, so even if I'm singing praises to this show, I have to like think about, like, what are the not so good aspects of the show, or more accurately, like, what would people probably not like? Just in case, just so you know. Um, One, like the length of the show or the pacing of it. So this Mr. Sunshine has 24 episodes, like from the get go. No extensions involved. They really planned 24 episodes and they paced it accordingly. So it seems like it's just very, very slow. Like there are a lot of things going on around them, in the country, of course. But the actual plot, whatever that may be, is not actually moving. Like, is the actual plot their love line? You're really telling me that's their main, really, in a show like this, the love line is the actual plot? Or is it like, the revolution or fighting against Japan? Like, what is supposed to be going on? It's just not moving. So, for the longest time, people might not understand why things are so slow. Like, there are political things going on, yeah, as I mentioned, around the country, but they're not necessarily connected to the characters at the moment. The leads are more focused on their local struggles, like with each other, with the powers at play, and their love line, the love line. So, like, what's really going on? And in defense, in defense of the show, let's break it into like a three act, structure. Like in the first act, they're still operating within their social circles. Like, Asian is still a noblewoman. Eugene Choi is still, in the military. Like they are still who they are. And they're still operating in how people know them. While, discovering things about each other, discovering the truths behind their identities and their affiliations and all that. The second act is more about like raising the stakes, really, and like seeing how their personal desires, now that they've, found out more about each other and established these personal relationships, like how their personal desires are now in conflict with their greater goals, because they are somehow connected to the bigger political struggles going on. And so, like, even if that was their initial goal, like, now they have personal things. They have things they want for themselves. So how do they reconcile those conflicting goals and desires? And the third act is just, of course, the culmination of everything. Like, they are finally in the thick of things, in the grand scheme of things. And, like, they're losing what they once considered as their entire world. They are, they've lost their social roles. They've lost like the world that they once operated in. And now they're starting again and rebuilding themselves with like greater focus on what they really care about, what really matters to them. Like that is the pacing of this show, okay? It's just long and it's just slow. Though I feel like if it were a 16 episode show, oh, it would not be good. There's just a lot going on that I think would not be portrayed well if it were that short. Okay? So, talking about, I mentioned the love line. Okay. Here's the thing. Whether or not you like the love line or at least understand it will make or break your appreciation of the show. Like, if you don't like the love line for one reason or another, you'll hate this. You'll hate everything. Because, like, you'll either think it's moving too fast, where you don't understand, like, where are their feelings coming from? They just met, or they barely even spoke. Like, why do they have feelings for each other? Or why are they acting like this? Or you think it's so slow. Like, you don't know where it's headed. Like, why are we having all these conversations? What do you really want to do? Or who do you really want? What do you really want? It's just, it's either too fast or too slow. And, despite that, like, I realized this. Like, if you're not into the love line, you'll just hate it. You just won't understand them. Okay? And props to the writer, okay? Because, like, the love line is not unnecessary or unrelated to the main goals of the characters. Like, some love lines are like, whatever, like, I like the show except for the love line, but you can just skip their scenes. It doesn't matter. A lot of shows are like that. It's kind of just like, whatever, the love line is their happy ending after they accomplish their goal. Okay, cool. But in this show, Like, you cannot skip over their love scenes because it's so vital to understanding like their characters, their actions, and their motivations or hesitations, right? Like, it's genuinely like okay, my point is like, if you don't like their love line, you'll think like, oh my god, shut up. Just if you want to be a freedom fighter, if you want to fight for your country, fight for your country. Who cares about Eugene Joy? Why does that? Why does it even matter? I thought you wanted to fight for your Joseon, girl. Just go. Or for Eugene Joy. It's like, oh my god, get over yourself, get a life, go back to America or something. You're already a captain. Why are you risking everything for this girl? Like, if you don't get it, you'll just think they're so stupid. They make no sense. Okay? And if you don't understand or like the love line, you'll hate the ending. Okay, I have to talk about the ending now. Oh my lord. Hello everyone. It's editing Francine here. I realized there are going to be spoilers after this at this portion of the podcast. I probably should warn you about that. You should probably skip like, wait, let me count how long you should skip. Okay, I counted it. Skip 2 minutes and 43 seconds. I don't know how the editing will affect that, but just skip around 3 minutes if you don't want to be spoiled about what happens in the end. Yeah, I tried to make this as spoiler free as possible, but like, how do you talk about this without spoilers on the ending, which affects a lot of things? But yeah, just skip it, if you really don't want to find out. But if you do, just prime yourself, I guess, for what exactly happens. Like, something sad's gonna happen, but just so exactly what happens. Okay, fine, don't skip it, but I warned you. Okay, bye. Okay. It's just tragic. Like, I wouldn't say unnecessarily tragic because, like, I think I saw how heavily it was foreshadowed, I mean, like, I think I saw it coming somehow. It's not unnecessarily tragic, but it hurts. Like, why did it have to hurt that much, And here is my personal opinion. Asian should have died. So all 4 of them died, except for Asian. Asian is the only one who survived. And why? I mean, like, I'm not saying this in a malicious way, like, oh, I hate Asian, she should die because I hate her. No. It just kind of sucks that she's the only one who survived. And like, I'm not even going to try to look into the symbolism of why she was the one who survived. Because like, the fact of the matter is that almost everyone sacrificed their lives for her. Okay, so the symbolism of it, I don't want to think about it all that much. But the fact is that everyone died to sacrifice themselves for her. So in one way or another, okay, they died because of her somehow. And, in my humble opinion, everyone should die. Just to be fair. And if anyone deserved to live, it should have been Eugene Choi. Like, after everything he's been through, I think he deserved to live. But it would also hurt to live while everyone else died, especially the one woman that he loved. So maybe everyone should die so no one is in pain, but also no one can be happy. People who have been spoiled about the ending already, or just know that it's tragic, will think like, why is a show worth watching if you know how it's going to end? Like, there is no happiness to this. So why are you still watching it? And to that, I will say, it's still worth watching, even considering the sad ending. Like, not just the beautiful aspects of it and then like, and just ignore that the ending happened, but everything else is beautiful. Like, no, even the ending, even their deaths, that's part of the beauty of it. Because like, it was definitely 100% foreshadowed. I knew it was gonna happen, okay? I won't tell you at which point I figured it out. But yes, like it's so heavily foreshadowed. So I think like it only adds to the beauty of the show. Okay? That's it for me. Okay, final thoughts, I guess. I guess I love this. I do love this. Like one of as of today, as of now, like in my 2021 best show top 5 ranking, like this is fifth. Yeah, it's fifth. I think I've talked about all the other shows that went ahead that are higher than this, or another one is coming in the next few weeks. I won't tell you. But yeah, in a few weeks, like the other one, I'll talk about the other one. So like I guess my love for this is not because of like my emotional attachment, or because like I felt that I felt and learned so much on a personal level, not just because of the events. Like, you know how you feel things because something sad is happening or something tragic is happening, versus when you feel things because something is being portrayed that you can kind of relate to and learn from, like that kind of emotional reaction and attachment. It's not like that. So I don't think I have like deep emotional attachment to the show on a personal level. But on a technical level, oh my gosh, plain beautiful. I love it just because it's beautiful on all technical aspects. Like, just across the board, a masterpiece. That's all I can say. It's a masterpiece. The thing is, like, it's hard because I can't recommend it to everyone because it's plot heavy, which people like plot, but it's slow. It's really slow. Even if things are happening, they're kind of not happening. So, it's hard. I hope, like, people will give it a chance, even if it's slow, like, just for the sake of it being beautiful. But yeah, I got nothing else to say. It's just a beautiful, beautiful show. It's tragic, it's painful, but you gotta love it. So that's it for me today. Oh my goodness. Had to relive a lot of pain in this show. All we know is pain. But thank you for listening to today's episode, and I will see you soon.